Hi, everyone. I'm here at St. Anne's Church again, and we're going to take a continuation of looking at these murals on the St. Anne's ceiling. If you remember last week, we looked at St. Francis of Assisi. If we're on the plaza side of the church, the first one from the altar end is St. Francis. The next one, the one that we'll talk about today, St. Isaac Jogues, he's the second in that series on the plaza side of the church. So let's take a look at the life of St. Isaac Jogues. So here's the mural featuring St. Isaac Jogues. St. Isaac Jogues was born in January of 1607, so that kind of puts a time frame on us here. And it was in Orleans, France. He entered the Society of Jesus and was ordained a priest in the year 1636. In that same year, he was sent to Quebec to begin a mission to the Huron Indians. Eventually, he was captured by the Iroquois, where he was tortured and had his hands mutilated. Part of the whole concept was they would, in one particular version of the story, they actually chewed off the first two fingers and the thumb off his right hand. The idea being that no one who had that done to them could hold a weapon to fight against them in the future. And then there was another story that other fingers on his left hand were then either cut off or damaged in the course of torture that he had. Once that was done, he went back to France and then eventually went to Rome to receive permission from the Pope to say Mass with those damaged hands. And he wasn't allowed to say Mass because he couldn't hold the host properly, according to the rubrics of the time. The Pope, when it said when he saw him, fell on his knees and kissed his hands before giving him that permission. St. Isaac went back to the New World and began missionary work again, and he was eventually captured by the Mohawk Indians, and the Mohawk Indians killed him. One of the Mohawks clubbed him to death or beheaded him. There's two different stories on that, as he went into one of the lodges. The interesting thing is the Iroquois and the not the Iroquois, but the Algonquins and the Hurons were very upset by his martyrdom, and the Algonquins actually went on a hunt to try to find this person who killed him. And the local Jesuits protected that person. That particular Mohawk person who martyred him eventually converted, was baptized, and took the name Isaac Jogues. And there was a kind of a little joke among the Jesuits that now there are two St. Isaac Jogues in heaven with all of that. So when we look at the actual mural up here, we see St. Isaac standing in the middle, holding up his cross and holding his sacred scripture. To his right, our left, we see a French-Canadian trapper. We also see four different Native Americans there. And I think this is to represent the four native tribes that he was missionary to: the Hurons, the Algonquins, the Iroquois, and the Mohawks. You can kind of see in the background on the lake back there, there's a canoe and there's a woman holding up a cross. This might be representative of a person who was a Mohawk lady who kind of adopted St. Isaac as his aunt, he calls her in some of his writings. And so that may represent her. And then we have the actual beatitude that's there. Blessed are the meek, for they shall possess the earth. And when you think about the life of St. Isaac, that just the humility that it takes to accept an assignment as a missionary in something that's really, really unknown, takes a lot of humility and meekness to make that all happen. So there we are. So that winds up this week's session on the murals at St. Anne's. Come back next week and we'll take a look at the next one in the series. God bless.